Hi, you guys. I thought I'd go live today and just show you some ideas on how I come up with creative inspiration. And the baseline for all of this is just keep your eyes and your heart open. So oftentimes inspiration will come via color for me. So I was digging through my stash and I found these ribbon tapes that's ribbon with already has sticker on the back. So I really love this color combination. So I'm going to go ahead and go with this color combination. Hi, I see somebody's here. Welcome, we're just creating together today. If I don't see any comments, forgive me, I'll go back later and look, but welcome. We're just getting creative together today, and I'm starting out with this ribbon that is, I found it in my stash this morning, forgot I even had it. I've probably had it for years, but I love this color combination. And then this is a meme that I love so much that I had it printed into an 8x10 and I'm gonna frame it. But I post it a lot on my social media. I just love it. We're going to change the wording a little bit, but this meme is going to be an inspiration for this Bible journaling page today. And then we're going to make a little girl that's super, super easy, with a big round head and a tiara and maybe a cookie. No, just kidding. Well, maybe she will have a cookie. I don't know. She's going to have Jesus though. And I was like, okay, where can I put this little girl? Because I kind of want to represent me in a kind of childlike faith. And I realized, what else? I don't know what else to do with the baptism and genealogy of Jesus here in Luke chapter 3. And it's so much beautiful space. And I really believe that this is included in the Bible, not just because there's a big old list, but it shows all the people. And when I was thinking about that, I was thinking, oh my goodness, yes, I'm one of those. You guys, we're in this line because we're baptized into Christ. So we're a part of this genealogy. So why not pretend like I'm doing a funny little cartoon self-portrait and put myself in the genealogy of Jesus? So I'm just gonna doodle and show you what I'm doing. And again, if you make any comments and I don't see them, I will come back later and chat with you about that. So here's what we're doing. We're gonna put a little girl in here, and I'm just going to draw with pen and be brave. Or not so smart, we'll see. But we're gonna start with a circle template. And if you don't have like a circle stencil or a circle template, you can use anything. Like I could use this candle to trace around it. I've got a pencil sharpener on my desk. I've got washi tape. You can use anything to make a circle. And I'm keeping the top of her head open because I want to draw this funky little tiara thingy on her head. So we're just going to draw a little line there. And I'm not sure how I want to make this tiara, but it needs to be kind of whimsical and goofy. Maybe it looks like she's just having a bad hair day at this point. We'll give her some hair. I love this pen, by the way, this Faber-Castell Eco Pigment in a 0.6. It's waterproof, and so it works really well, and it doesn't seem to really bleed through. I have not prepared this page. There's a little ghosting, but I can't seem to find a pen that doesn't do the ghosting part. That also is waterproof, so I don't mind how much kind of shadowing this pen gives. If you guys haven't seen me in person, I have curly hair. Now you know. I'll give a tour of my art room here someday, and maybe I'll be on that tour. Let's put some sparkly things at the top of her tiara. Oh, now I look like a court jester. That doesn't look so queenly. But maybe that's more appropriate. Okay, then we'll just give some eyes and a big smile and have a little nose. And then we're just gonna draw. I mean, we're like doing kindergarten style drawings here, guys. Okay, so we're gonna do stick figure. And yeah, let's give her a cookie. Make a little lumpy circle there. It's got to be chocolate chip. What's your favorite cookie, you guys? Maybe that's something we really need to talk about. Actually, if I had my druthers, my favorite dessert, here, let's give her a little wand, like a little fairy wand with ribbons and a star. Remember, I'm trying to draw myself like my inner child, although I'm not sure I'm too far off from this in real life. So like cookies are important, but let's give her a little collar and little buttons. Oh my goodness, I look like a court jester. I do not look like a princess, but that's totally okay. All right, so now I'm gonna alter this. That was my inspiration, and I'm going to write something a little bit different here. And I'm gonna just write in my regular handwriting, all lowercase letters. All I need is, well, we'll give Jesus a capital letter. Jesus. A tiara. And then down here, how about we put, and maybe a cookie. I wonder if you guys did like your little kid self or your childlike self, what that would look like in your mind. Maybe that's hard to envision because life has kind of gotten serious or hard. By the way, it says this was made by Jane Lee Logan. I just want to give credit where credit's due. So now I'm going to take my tropical set of watercolors from Prima because they're amazing. And we're going to try to paint some colors that'll go along with these ribbons that I have here. And let's do her crown in this yellow. So we can pretend it's like gold. So I was adopted when I was born, and so I grew up, I didn't know my birth family. I was adopted in the 70s, so that was before open adoptions were really a thing, way before. And so I didn't know my birth family at all. And I went to grad school for counseling back when I was 25. Oh my goodness, I'm feeling old. Is it gonna go back? Okay, we're back live again. Okay, all right. So anyway, this is all gonna come around to this genealogy piece. I didn't know my birth family growing up, and so I didn't grow up really knowing any kind of heritage. And in grad school, we had to do a lot of different genealogy projects, and one was based on our cultural heritage. And it was kind of the first time that it really dawned on me that I don't really have a cultural heritage that I know of. We could talk about the family that I grew up in, my family, but they weren't really big into genealogy and all that kind of stuff. So it was kind of a quandary. And I remember my counseling program started out in a seminary part of a university. They had a seminary program, and we were studying the Old Testament. And when we studied the Old Testament, it was like the first time in my life I felt like I had people. Like when we studied the Israelites, I felt like that was like my family line, which I don't know if that sounds strange or not. So the genealogy of Jesus, I wasn't just like trying to search for a page to make a little girl on, but it all kind of came together in my head because this was really the first kind of genealogy that I was like, oh, maybe I am actually a part of something bigger, and I don't know. It's just, I don't know if you know people who've been adopted. Everybody's story is so different, but it didn't really bug me until we were talking about it so much in grad school and about genealogy and family bloodlines and things that run in the family. And I'm like, yeah, this is all interesting, but it does not apply to me at all because I don't know my family bloodline. I don't know any of that. So yeah, the short version of that story as it continued in my life was that cultural foundations class. I asked the teacher what he wanted me to do, since I didn't really have a genealogy that people or that my family was like connected to or anything like that. And I knew he was the kind of professor, and I was the kind of student that wanted to really fulfill the heart of the project. And so I asked him, gosh, what should we do here? I'm gonna put on a little orange to see if I can make this a little bit coral, and hopefully, see, we're experimenting now. Hopefully this won't mess up the color completely, because I really like this coral color, but I don't have it in my paints. So yeah, so I asked him after class, I just told him what I told you guys, that I just, I was adopted, and so I don't know my bloodline per se, and I don't know, how valuable it is to really study the genealogy of the family I grew up in, because genealogy wasn't a big part of our family culture. Like my husband, it is. They're German, and that's been a big, important part of their family identity. And so I just didn't have that. And he encouraged me to look for my birth family, and I found them. Some people said I maybe should have been a private detective, because my records were sealed, and lots of things should have gotten in the way and tried to get in the way. But just to also respect my birth mom, since I didn't know her at all yet, when I found her, I had a caseworker from the state that I was born in who went ahead and contacted her for me in case she didn't want to have contact. So I didn't want to completely, disrupt someone's life, like show up on their porch and say, "Hi, I'm assuming you want to get to know me," because that's probably not wise. But she did want to get to know me, and we've gotten to know each other since, I think, 2001. So it's been quite a while now, and it's been such a cool part of my journey that I don't know, it's just been a really cool part of my journey. And I know not every situation ends up the way people hope, and I just had to really listen to God through the whole journey. And I just always said, I kept telling him, please close doors if this is going to be hurtful or harmful to anyone. If this is not you leading me into these spaces, please, please, please close the doors. So, but he kept opening the doors, and I did end up finding her. So that was pretty cool. And within 4 days we were on the road, because we only lived about 8 hours. She was near where I was born, and I lived about 8 hours away from there. And so anyway, yeah, that's a big part of my story and who I am. And so that's kind of my genealogy story. And so all this kind of goes back to, who are you and what is your identity? And some days I feel like being kind of a big grown-up in Christ, and forget that I get to be a child, and that in fact God does ask us to be childlike in our faith. Sometimes I think I've got to have it all together, and I don't, and I've got to figure things out, and I can't, I'm overwhelmed. And then God's like, no honey, throw on your tiara, grab a cookie, and just be a girl, just be a little girl. I've got this. That doesn't mean be irresponsible. It just means just God doesn't want us I don't know, taking the reins, taking over, pushing into things that he just wants to help us take care of. in our lives that we don't need to, I guess, stress about. I don't know. And, you know, I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm assuming a lot of you know that, you know, life can get kind of stressful at times and not always make sense. And at those times, we can either kind of try to take over, or we can go to this place. So that's what this painting is representing for me. And I titled this All About the Creative Process. And as you see, my brain's kind of wandering. I'm doing this live just so you can kind of hear how my brain works here. I kind of had this concept of this little girl with a circle face and a tiara and maybe a cookie from that meme that I love so much. And but I also didn't know exactly where I was going to go with this. So that's okay too, to not know what's going on. Oh, there's dogs outside, sorry. My dogs think they need to be on high alert apparently. Sorry. So I'm going to just put some wash down, and sometimes I'll start Bible journaling and I have like a verse that's just really on my heart, or something that maybe my church family is studying, and so I want to study that too. Hey, Paxton, come here. Come here. It's okay. Be quiet. Good boy. Come here. Come here, Paxton. He's an interesting little dog. Sorry he's being so noisy. So sometimes, like, I start off with a concept. Sometimes I start off with a verse. Today, I literally was like, I want to draw this little girl. And I knew that it was kind of related to my faith somehow. And I just got to be honest. I mean, some people might say this is a backwards way of doing Bible journaling, but I was like, what? So where does this little girl belong in this whole Bible process? Where does little me belong? And I opened up right to this genealogy and went, oh my goodness, right there. Yes, because I am a part of this genealogy. Okay, Paxton, quiet. Sorry, this is why I don't often go live, because the dogs. Hashtag the dogs. All right, I think, let me test this marker. I think it's supposed to be gray, but to me it's more of a skin tone. So I'm just going to kind of color in my face a little bit here. And God and I have this thing about tiaras and princesses, okay? So that's why I love this. I actually did a pageant, whole nother story for a whole nother day. I did 2 pageants actually, 2 pageant systems as an adult that God led me into. That was a crazy year or 2. Totally fun, but that season is done in my life. But I still like tiaras. And the whole kind of princess metaphor, God really has just kind of allowed me to play with that concept with him, that, you know, I'm his princess and, you know, daughter of the king, all that kind of stuff. So you're a princess too. So I'm going to hit this with heat a little bit so I can draw some details on top of it. I always feel bad because my heat tool is so old. I've had it for a gazillion years. This needs an and a tiara. It's a gazillion years old and it's really loud. So I feel bad when you guys have to listen to it. I guess it's not quite as loud as my dogs. Good gravy. So I don't know why. We've got a Labradoodle that's so adorable. She's so super sweet, but she's downstairs just barking and barking at nothing now. Then that gets my little Chihuahua all riled up. Okay, people, here's a fun little funny. Here's a fun little funny. Never say never. How many of you has said like, I never will, blah, blah, blah. And then that actually ends up happening. Because I've never wanted a Chihuahua, but I went to the pound and this pitiful little old 10-year-old Chihuahua that had just had all of his teeth pulled except for 5. Apparently Chihuahuas have like 35 teeth in that tiny little head. I don't even know how that's possible, but it is. And he had these teeth pulled and needed a home, and he had already been rehomed a couple of times from California, and he was flown up to Oregon, which is where I live, in kind of a second chance, or maybe his was like a 3rd or 4th chance. I don't know. I don't know, but I fell in love with this little toothless Chihuahua. And then we adopted him, and thank goodness he came with health insurance for a month, free little pet insurance, and he got a terrible eye infection, and so now he's a one-eyed, toothless 10-year-old Chihuahua. And this is my little guy. He's I seriously, people, if God can help me fall in love with this goofy little Chihuahua, there's hope for all of us. I'm just saying. Oh, shoot. Okay, so I like to have a background, and I smeared some yellow here. I'm trying to decide what color to do as a background. I honestly, brown seems kind of strange, but I think I'm going to do some brown because I really like the soft brown with those colors. So we'll just do it really light though. And maybe that's representative of kind of the mess I am. The messy princess, right? Here we go. Okay. The messy princess. We're sitting here in the mud. I call our other dog the messy princess because she's she's a golden doodle or labradoodle, and you know, they're supposed to not shed. Well, she sheds a little bit, and she loves to play in the mud. And she's the only girl I have here in the house. I'm raised, but they're still at home. I have a senior in high school and a junior in college, 2 boys and a husband and a boy dog, and our other boy dog that we just had to put down, Caleb. And so Piper's the only girl of the house with me, but she's as messy as I am. So it's kind of, I guess we're kind of hopeless, but if that's the worst, if that we're just kind of messy, then I think we're doing okay, right? Right? Validate me. Say it's okay. No, I'm just kidding. I am messy. I mean, you guys watch me do my art. Like, I had yellow paint that I dragged with my finger across the page. Like, that's the metaphor. That's the story of my life. So the other pen that I used was just this. I love this Signo metallic gel pen. It writes like butter. Signo seems to be the key because I love their white gel pen too. It writes like butter, and it writes so beautifully. And this is a bronzy color, but I use it for anytime I want bronze or gold or glitter, but I don't want to put glitter in my Bible, although I'm really tempted to today. Put some glitter on her tiara. We'll see. I've never tried that. Maybe we should. Maybe we should just try it. Okay. Well, here we go. How to be inspired. Just go with it. Now this, since this is, what is this? This is Studio G glitter. I've had this for probably 15 years. So Stickles makes these. There's just a bunch of companies. This is just one of those little bottles of, back in the 80s we called them puffy paints, but now they're not called puffy paints anymore. They've got a new name. They are rebranded. Now it's just glitter or something. I don't know what it is. And we'll make her little magic wand. And isn't that cool? Like, I don't know if you guys, as a believer, like, I don't know how people, here, we'll put some sparkles in her ribbons down here too. I don't know how people go through life without Jesus, to be honest. Like, life is hard sometimes. And even when it's good, like, you still need a savior. Like life can be good, but it can still, I mean, I don't know. I just can't imagine doing life without without Jesus. Sorry, I'm bonking my thing. I keep bonking my thing. If you guys are making comments, they show up and then they disappear, and so I will go back through and read all those and respond to you guys after this is done. I won't just ignore you, and I'm not ignoring you, so please don't feel ignored. So here we go. And you'll see I really wanted this teal, but I grabbed this paint set and it didn't really have it, so you can see I kind of tried to sort of make it. But to play with this contrast, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the coral ribbon up here at the top of the page. And this is ribbon you can't see through. So I'm going to have to like fold it over or trim it down or something. I'm not sure what yet. And then I'm going to put some of this ribbon at the bottom, which is nice and thin, so I won't have to put this at the bottom. And again, I'm using things that I've had in my stash. So you may not even have a whole lot laying around, but you can do a lot with very, very little. Only go out and buy stuff if your budget allows, and if it's something you really think that you'll use, or you just really want to try it. Because sometimes then you try something and you fall in love, and that's pretty fun with some kind of new art technique. But never feel obligated to buy things. And if you guys ever have questions like, okay, well, I don't have watercolor paints, but I want to do something like this, feel free to ask for substitutes, because I'm an idea person, and so I love kind of coming up with ideas on how to do things, and especially when it comes to kind of problem solving. I love that. I love trying to help solve problems. So don't let supplies get in the way of being inspired. In fact, sometimes people get a little paralyzed when they have too many supplies, and so sometimes it's good to just it's good for your creativity and for inspiration to just use what you've got, because that forces you to have some restraints. And restraints when it comes to creativity is actually a very healthy, helpful thing. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that yet. This is pretty, I want to fold it over because I don't want to cut it. There we go. We'll just do it carefully. It's pretty thick. It's thicker than washi tape because it's ribbon with some really thick sticky on the back here. So yeah, honestly, like, I'm doing a 30-day art challenge right now, in this group, and it's all about working within the restraints of the prompts for that day. Where did I put, oh, I'm gonna make a tab out of this because I still love this brown. So I'm just gonna, we're gonna figure out something here. So sometimes people think the fact that they don't have enough supplies is what's limiting their creativity, but honestly, it's not. Because sometimes that's the funnest thing, is just challenging yourself to say, okay, I've got this piece of ribbon and I've got some colored markers. What can I do? Well, like today, I wanted some white gesso. I don't have any white gesso hanging around. And so I looked up how to make your own white gesso, and I found out you can make it out of baking soda, baking powder, I think. I'd have to go look again. White glue and baking soda, white glue, and there was another wet ingredient. I'm not thinking of it right now. But I'm like, oh, well, look at that. I don't even need to buy gesso because I have all those ingredients in my house. So sometimes creativity comes because we have those restraints on us. So whether it's budget restraints, like I don't have a budget to go out and buy gesso today. And I don't really feel like leaving the house even if I did. So, whoops, now I'm throwing things, look out. I have this funny little, cute little stamp. Let's see. Oh, let's put I Love Jesus up here on this tag. I'm going to use StazOn ink for this because it's permanent ink that works on pretty much any surface, including plastic, fabric, all sorts of things. So now I already put this on here. I want a hard background, so I'm just going to tilt the page up a little bit, hopefully not make a mess of that glitter, and stamp this hopefully right side up. There we go. It's very faint, but it's there. Now let's date stamp it at the bottom. I think I want to do this one. And if you don't have a date stamp, I've actually, oh look at, see, I made a mess. Her glitter got over here. John the Baptist is now glittered. That's okay. That'll work. If you don't have a date stamp, don't let that bother you either. I think I got this one with some birthday money and a 40% off coupon. So just don't let stuff be your limiting factor. Let the things you have be a blessing. And you can even, I don't know, you could go read the prayer of Jabez, and God can extend our territory, and he multiplies what we're willing to give him. So if you're feeling like, okay, I want to do something, but I have no idea what to do with what I have, pray and say, God, help me be inspired. Just help me, and maybe start with a color. And like, I love color. You guys probably know that by now. I love color. I love color. I just love color. If I could speak in color, that would be fabulous. I'm not even sure what that would look like, but if there was a language called color, I would speak it. And so oftentimes I'll start with a color that's just feeling really inspiring today. And today the colors, like I said, started with this. And I wanted to draw an easy little girl with my round head and a tiara. And this meme that I blew up and I'm going to hang up in my art studio. So there you go. And that's how you just pull a page together. Keep your eyes open, keep your heart open, shop your own home, what you already have, and don't be afraid to Google for ideas like how to make gesso if you want gesso. Because if you have baking soda and white glue, oh, and white paint and water, you can make gesso. Has nothing to do with this page, but I'm just saying, be creative. Thanks for hanging out with me, you guys. I really look forward to looking at your comments, and I'm so glad that we hung out together. And I hope this gave you some ideas on how to get your own creativity going, and that you realize that you're just not limited. Don't be limited. Okay, love you guys. Bye.